Rolling.
Got him! What's up, Buck fans? Happy Wednesday. It is the Bucs Report, the aftermath. Happy Hump Day. It's your boy, AJ Turn Up. We got my man Slick, Coach Slick, the British guy who's always flying on standby. I hope y'all doing all right today. We got exactly. We got a bunch of good shit that we got to throw at y'all today. First of all, we got to talk about the joint practice with the Jets. Russell Gage going out, unfortunately, with a season injury. The emergence of Palmer, possible steal in the draft. And of course, we got to talk about the brawl for it all and the Jets. And then we just got to talk. We're going to assess everything and break that whole thing down. How you doing today, Coach Slick?
I'm pretty good, brother. I've not been big on the news. I've just been hearing clumps, so I haven't had a chance to really digest everything. Like the fight, I haven't really read a lot about and how practice a lot of it went. I've heard a few bits and pieces, like the highlights. But I don't know like the ins and outs of it yet. So it'd be quite interesting to get your take on that. And yeah, heard about what's happened obviously to Gage, which is always unfortunate because he never want that to happen to a player. But
so before we even get to Gage, though, guys, we're going to talk about the quarterback play because it goes both ways. I heard people talking about it again. When it comes to the quarterback situation, we already know that Baker won the starting job. He's done enough. What we want to see, if for the trash people who still have hope, we just want to see that he can improve and at least be a backup just in case Baker goes down. That is the most important thing for Trask. If I'm him, make yourself relevant to the point where if Baker does go down, God forbid, then you will be ready. You will be you're gonna lead these men and that they believe in you. So that's really all I got to say, guys, for the quarterback situation. Now let's just get to the Russell Gage thing because that was a tremendous blow because not for the Bucs in per se, and I'll get to that Bucs fan because I know y'all been on my ass all day on Twitter about it. How can I say that? It was bad for Russell. Apparently, Slick. Of course, he was frustrated. He was in tears when he was being carted off. I really do feel for him. I wish him well. I hope that he gets a speedy recovery. But this was actually one of the worst things that happened to Russell because after this draft, this puts him on the hot seat because now is he a liability in the future? And what's going to happen if Palmer, as we see, he is emerging, he could be that guy. But I'm going to hold myself a little bit. I want to get your take on the Russell Gage situation. Okay. How about you, Coach? What about you, Slick?
Well, from what I've seen, like he's obviously distraught, and there's a reason for that. Like this was almost like a last chance saloon. You know, he came from the Falcons, who had a pretty solid career. Like he got 700 yards, I think about 5 or 6 touchdowns or what have you in that year. And then so we thought we were going to get a weapon. Not saying that he's not, he really is. And then he didn't kind of pan out for him last year. He just kept on getting injured, and he still put up 500 yards and around about, I think, 3 touchdowns. But our offense was trashed, to say the least. So, you know, in this, he probably thought this was like a resurgence year, and it kind of is. He falls off the face now. He could fall off a cliff to where he's going to have to accept really small contracts just to prove he can be in the NFL. Whereas before, he's kind of proven that he can be a 3rd man on your roster. Now he's going to have to be proving potentially he's the 6th man on your roster, and it ain't going to be the Buccaneers picking him up. So he's going to have to really have a great camp, and he'd be fighting rookies and all that kind of stuff. So it's heartbreaking for him because this was an opportunity. For us, it's frustrating because it's a veteran player. You know, after you knock out Gage, that not one person has played an entire season of football yet, except for our 2 starters. But that's it. Yeah, and I'm a big believer in Palmer, and I already had him down. There's people out there saying that they didn't think he was going to make roster, and he's probably going to get a practice squad. I was like, I don't see that. I have him down as my fourth person on the roster. He was number 4 on my roster. On my roster.
Yeah,
and then I was going. Devin Tompkins was always going to get in, and then it's a case of, do you want a 6 wide receiver or do you want 5 wide receiver? It all depends on what the offense is, what they want from the offense. If you are wide receiver mad, then you're going to add another wide receiver. If you're going to play with your tight ends, then you're going to have more tight ends, and then you'll have a different balance. So,
yes,
absolutely gutted for him, to say it in a British way. Absolutely gutted for him. But the worst part is it's a non-contact injury. It's a horrible injury to have, because it's like you haven't even had a chance to really prove yourself. And even got in a preseason game, I don't think, either at that point. So really isn't just, it's horrible to see.
It's very, yes, you're absolutely right, Slick. It's a tragedy, because we wanted to see the potential. We saw it in practice, but what do I always say to the Buck fans out there? It's not always about what you see in practice. You want to see what these guys can do when the game lights are on. That is what's most important, and he's not going to get that opportunity. And this might be his way out with the Buccaneers organization. Slick has said it. He is in a position now where he's got to fight just to see if he can be durable now. He is a veteran, and we know veterans eventually they start to wear down. But right now, I want to talk to the Buck fans, because this was a little debate over on Twitter. We had some Buck fans literally thinking that we need to go out and look for another veteran wide receivers. Now, Buck fans, I disagree, and this is why. You have all the weapons that the Bucs need. Not only Mike Evans, not only Chris Godwin, not only Palmer, who is emerging. First of all, this guy's hungry, and he's fresh, and he's young with like great speed. But outside of the receiver, Buck fans, did you forget you have Cade Otton there as well, he could be a potential weapon in the pass, especially at tight end. We just got Parham from Purdue. We have plenty of weapons. And also, Buck fans, we are also trying to switch up our identity and become a well-balanced attack. We're going to be running the ball a lot more, and that is very important, Buck fans. So losing Gage was bad, but if you really want it, we need to save our cap space. If you really want me to think the Bucs are making the move, if Gedke plays like shit again and he gets to a point where he's a liability, then I would look for a veteran at right tackle. But wide receiver is not a concern. The Bucs are fine at that position. We're going to be just fine. And I'm excited about Palmer. Like everybody else, I think Palmer has a chance to actually not just I knew his speed. I would say he could have been a one-trick pony for the rookie season, but he has shown me he's able to do intermediate catches. He's able to take hits. What do you guys think he's going to do during the regular season? And that can also open things up for Evans and Godwin. So wide receivers, we are fine. You want to address a position, your position is right tackle. We got to see what Geddeke's going to be like.
Okay, so I semi-agree with what you're saying. I do think we need to keep an eye on the veteran wide receiver market, because just how you go from having a guy who is 30, then a guy who's probably 28, and then they're all pretty much rookies after that. Like you can tell me that Devin Tompkins has played football, but he played like less than half a year, so it doesn't count. It doesn't count in my book. Like it'll be a crude season, but he didn't play a whole season of football, and he played mostly special teams. He got a taste of offense, and no one on this team, bar our 2 starters, have actually caught many regular season balls. That's what concerns me. However, you are right, and I would have completely disagreed with you until you turned around and said right tackle. I went, you know what? I want to see a little bit more of right tackle. That is a bigger concern for me right now, because I wasn't best pleased. I've seen articles out there like JT Olsen, hopefully Bay Writer of the Year for us here at Bucs Report, has said that it wasn't as bad as we all thought, and a couple of other people have come out and churned out articles since then saying once you watch the whole picture, it isn't as bad, but his lowlights were bad, but he did a lot of good in between. But hey, I'm not a big O-line person, so I'm not going to sit there and dissect O-line all day long. It's not what I'm made for. I've got other things in my life. I prefer to look at the DB. I've got other things to look at. I'll look at the DBs. I tend to look away from the dark arts.
I can dig it. I understand. I look at it from Getke's when I'm looking for this game. If I just need him to be good at something. If he's good at the run, I can work with that, because then as an offense, you can work your way around that. Okay, this is what he can do here, but we just got to make sure that he's going to be the guy. Now, I want to change it over to the brawls that was happening in the joint practices. First of all, it happens all the time, Buck fans. That shit happens all over the place. That's just a part of
the report. It happened at Titans camp. It's happened at this camp. It's happened at that camp. It always happens, because this is like the ultimate proving ground, isn't it? And it's when you get to spend so much time with someone who isn't your team, and all that pent up frustration. You want to show coach that you can fight. You want to show your teammates you're really willing to fight. There's who was it? I can't remember who it was. They told a really good story about how a player hadn't spoken to. I think this is Titans. I can't remember who the player is off the top of my head, but there was like a veteran player in their organization who, it might have been the Steelers. Anyway, I'll get to the point. Basically, they were doing all this work, and he's been playing really good football, and then this veteran dude who's like a bit of a legend, did not speak to them at all. Did not speak to them. Didn't even say a word to them. The moment they got into a fight, he goes, "I can depend on you. I got your back." The moment he threw hands.
Absolutely.
This guy was making plays all season, but the moment he saw that, it's like, now you're my guy.
Yeah, I take it a step further. It's like when you are on your team, that's your family. So I don't care, even if we're really cool with the other guy. If someone disrespects you on the team, Slick, I got your back. If he calls you outside of your name, and he comes to me, I'm like, well, wait a minute. What did you say, Slick? His name is Slick. His name isn't asshole. His name isn't jackass. Name isn't none of that shit. So we gonna have a problem. That's my brother. That's my teammate. I don't give a fuck about you. You're on the opposing team. Show some respect. And that's what preseason is all about, is developing that unity to go, I got you. We gonna do this together through thick and thin, through the highs and the lows. Now, I do like what Fred says here.
Yeah.
David Moore has 78 catches. I like David Moore. And Fred, thank you, Fred. Thank you for joining in. David Moore.
I appreciate that.
He's very strong. He's very he's a good catch. He's good at catching in between the tackles. So I do like that. Mike Williams. I know you're not Slick. He talking about 2000. Ben, you talking about 2010 Mike Williams? Now that is a name that I haven't heard in a long time. Not this Slick. I
remember.
He had potential.
I think he's given up on a little bit too early. Yeah. I don't think he fit the next coach that kind of came along, you know?
Yeah, those were the lost ages. That's when I call those the super dark years. He was one of the best plays he's ever done, Slick, was against the Falcons. It was a slant route. Freeman threw to him, and he just took that shit and ran like 70 yards and just burnt the guys. He had potential. But, yeah, you know what? It's funny. The Bucs do have a good streak over the few past years of getting receivers. We've never been short of getting good wide receivers. Now, keeping them is just another thing. And I'll say this name. I think he set the trend. When Keyshawn Johnson came to Tampa, that really helped us from here on out getting solid receivers, because after Keyshawn, we got Joey Galloway. And after Joey Galloway, we had Mike Williams for a little bit. Antonio Bryant was a one-year wonder. Then we got Vincent Jackson, rest in peace, and Mike Evans, Hall of Famer, and we have Chris Godwin. We didn't have some years. Now we also had how do I forget his name? But one guy, he was a scrapper. His name was Sammy Stroughter. I like Sammy Stroughter. He fought for yards, but the only thing was he was inconsistent. But let me get back to the fight. I do like passion. I do like it. Buck fans, it happens all the time. But Levante David, I like the fact that he got some scrap in him. You know what it is, Slick? He's still pissed off from his rookie year when we played the Jets in the first game.
Yeah, Geno Smith.
Penalty. That was a awful penalty. That was an awful penalty. I did not like that call. I thought that was an atrocious call. So I think maybe he still feels some type of way. Mike Clayton was a one
revenge.
Yeah, but you know what? I think Aaron Rodgers brought a little of his assholeness to the Jets, because the Jets, let's be real, the Jets want to be the Bucs, the 2020 Bucs so bad. It's ridiculous, because they think that they got the big deal with Aaron Rodgers and two receivers that nobody that is and Dalvin Cook, he's gonna be the new Leonard Fournette. Please, you don't have a line. You know why? They don't have a Tristan Wirfs on their squad. You ain't got no Tristan Wirfs. Your defense is good, but Jets, pack that shit up. You guys got way too much against you in your own division. If they were even getting the playoffs, they'd be a 6 seed. I'm going to go with 6 or 7. There's too many other teams. The Bills are winning their division. The Patriots are going to give them a run, and so is Miami. But
we're scrapping. That's what we like. We're scrappy.
Yeah, we like scrapping. We like to see life within our organization. But you know what, Slick? I'm happy. It wasn't a scrap of frustration. I think it's a scrap of excitement from this team, because they're going in another direction.
A little bit. I would say one thing is the way we're looking at, the Buccaneers just got to be careful about being a little bit indisciplined. That's all I got to say. Let's not get it. Let's not creep too much. But we know these fights happen every year. These fights break out. And I think because the Buccaneers, I think they only have one joint practice. Yes. This was the one they all flared up on. It's usually day 2 of the joint practices that they tend to get a bit snarky at, because it's hot. I mean, it was at the Jets, wasn't it? It wasn't at ours.
No, it was in New York, so it was hot, but it wasn't like Florida hot. I say that, Slick, is because last year with the Brady's thing over our heads and stuff, it was, I think the energy was like not as balanced, or it wasn't. The Bucs weren't enthused like they are this season. It's new. People are already knocking us. They're dogging us. They don't have any expectations. So we're gonna do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if shit like this ended up on Hard Knocks, because Hard Knocks is there.
That's going on.
So yeah, HBO was probably saying, yeah. Throw some punches. Throw some punches. Say some shit. I like this team, because this team is going to be scary.
Fuck around and find out, as they say.
Yes, I say this because remember Slick, they don't listen to wise men like you and I. What did we say about this defense? We already said this defense is going to be fucking dangerous. Bang bang. Now, apparently in practice, people were saying, wow, if this was a real game, the Bucs would have had like 10 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. They were saying that even in certain drills, Slick, Shaq Barrett was doing the damn thing. I saw one of his drills. He was moving like old Shaq would. We've already said this, Bucs fans. We told y'all this defense has, if they're healthy, can be elite. An elite defense, top 5. We've told you this. If Kancey can be an average, just average, Vita Vea is going to be Vita Vea. It's over. If Yaya is, put it this way, all the draft people, they don't even have to be above and beyond. They can be average in this Bucs defense with the veterans that we have in defense is going to wreak havoc. We told y'all that. But now Slick is going to eloquently put it in a way that we try. I'm just telling you, but he's going to do it a lot better because he's a defensive guy. Break it down, Slick.
Well, about this defense, what do you want to know?
About this defense, where should they expect to get a lot of misery for offensive?
They've done really well. Like, I love the reappointment of Golston, because that gives you a guy that can play starter. He's not massively old. He's in his 30s, so for a lineman, it's probably not that bad. So if Logan Hall doesn't pan out, you've instantly got another starter. I love the appointment of Greg Gaines, who looks like he's going to be brought in on 4-down sets, so 4-down linemen, opposed to the 3. So when they try and do a four-man look, then you're going to have him put down there, and then you're also going to have him to rotate with Vita Vea, and he is a big human being, and this guy's worked with Aaron Donald, so he knows how to work with the big guys, and he knows how to get penetration and be that run stopper, because someone had to be a run stopper on that defense. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's that nose position's an unglamorous one. It's one of those ones you don't particularly get many sacks on, which is why I feel it's absolutely big disrespect to Vita Vea not to get a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro shout, because how many nose tackles got what he got? And I'm being serious. Like, when they go for defensive tackles, they go for the pass rushing defense, like your old school Gerald McCoys, the Fletcher Coxes of the world, those kind of names that kind of break out. All they do is pass rush, and that's great. But what about who played nose for your? I'm going to have an All-Pro team that has an All-Pro team or a Pro Bowl team that doesn't have a nose tackle. Every team has a fucking nose tackle. It's a fact of life. You have to have a nose. Obviously, some players are lighter in the nose position. Like, obviously, Vita Vea is a big boy. So when I look at this defense, and then you got Cansey on the side, which is what we replaced. I'm trying to remember Hicks with. If he can pass rush better than Hicks and play the run as good as or close to, then you've got real pass rush dominance there, because you've got, it's like, who are you gonna, how many people are you gonna double? You can't double everyone. You've got 5 men. Okay, you can add tight ends and what have you, but let's be realistic. Tight ends are supposed to be fucking crash test dummies that you're gonna throw into the fucking quarterback on the way, right? I'm just trying to glamorize that a little bit, but and then you got 2 guys on the side. You can have Yaya Diaby or JTS on one side, constantly rotating, giving you power and speed on one side, and then you got the natural all-roundness skill of Shaq Barrett. I wouldn't say donkey, but I would say the only person on that defensive line that, and if he's not the starter, is Will Goulston, because he's more of a primary run stopper. Right, yep. We know that for a fact. He's not going to get a lot of sacks. I mean, he gets 1 or 2 here and there, the defensive end at a 5 tech in a 3-4 system is not meant to get lots of sacks. They're not meant to. But if you've got a guy who can fly off the edge, and come on, it's just so much around him. Then for the linebackers, we've got a guy who's coming up in Savasier Dennis. I'm hoping, they said they're going to use him a lot. I would not be surprised if he gets used in pass rush rotations, just to play around with. Or, even better, let's go back to 2022. My man to my left telling me, why can't they just use Devin White as a pass rusher? Well, now you can, because you can put him as a pass rusher and put Savasier Dennis next to Levante David. So you have that option. And flip-flop them as well. So you have a few different things that you can do. You could go to a 4-3 look and have 3 down linebackers. So you end up with 1 true middle, which is Levante, and then 2 outside guys, so a Sam and a Will in Savasier and no, I would probably put Savasier as a pure end in a 4-front. So I would probably, if it was me, I would go Hall, Gaines, Vida, and then Cansey. You gotta go Cansey, and then Yaya on the other side. On the weak side, he'd be the weak side end. Pure speed coming off that weak side end, and then have those 3 at the back. And then, the DBs, I think, had a really good year last year, despite having been beaten up. I think we'll have another good season. We know for a full fact that if Colton Davis can hang on to at least 50% of the balls that he bobbled, he could be an argument of, I wouldn't say MVP because that's a little bit too far-fetched, but he's in the conversation of being one of the most elite corners in the league, and he's still in that conversation. It's just that he would be driven up that fucking board. Instead of being like a top 10 corner, he is now a top 3 corner. If he just comes away with at least 2 or 3 of those picks, it's a completely different conversation. This defense is I'm really interested to see what happens from the safety position and the nickel position, because there's a safety that we brought in that is a very, very good safety.
Yes.
We know our dude. I'm not worried about him at all. The other gentleman?
Winfield, yeah. He's gonna win on the field. That's why they
He's
call
gonna
him
win on. He's gonna win on the field, and then we're gonna probably have Delaney or somebody,
yeah.
draw up the nickel spot, and hopefully they're doing the job. So I'm super excited for this defense. There's not one part of this defense that's stressed. I'm more stressed about next year when it comes to this defense of who we're keeping and blah blah blah. Now it's all set. I'm like, if Logan Hall isn't great, okay, well, then we just put because I wasn't expecting great things. Now I'm hoping my mouth. Sometimes you want you want to be proven wrong. I want JTS to prove me wrong. I want Logan Hall to prove me wrong. I want anyone who didn't play that well last year to prove me wrong.
Yes.
And it'll be the same next year when I'm talking about this year's rookie crop gun. I wanted to see a little bit more out of this person. I wanted to see it, and I want them to put me wrong because it only benefits my team.
Exactly, and you're right on it. And I have so many ways that I can describe this design the defense. Even if I put Devin on the outside, fake blitz, dropping back in coverage. Now, oh damn, because he has the speed to recover. Oh shit, and he got hands. Now it's a pick six. Who's gonna catch Devin White when he picks the ball off? You Buck fans, we've been already telling you this, but this is why I'm not. The Bucs defense is going to be designed to carry this offense for the first few games of the season of the offense. Don't be surprised. Also, the reason why Bowles picked the players he picked, he wants to win in the trenches. He wants that front seven to be dangerous like they were in the 2020 season when we won the Super Bowl, because you didn't even have to worry about the secondary. You were too busy worried about JBP, Shaq Barrett, and Vita Vea and Levante at that time. He wants to bring that back because Levante is going to be the leader, the anchor. But if you got a guy like Yaya that's balling, Canty that's balling, you can't double. You double one of them, it's over for your offense. And even if you decide to put a tight end to help with the offensive line, now you've limited your offense. So which is going to – and if you don't have an elite quarterback, now you're really stuck because now you don't know what plays to run. And either way, you're still going to get sacked. And the run, Golston is going to having Golston out there is going to pressure you to tip your cap on what you're going to do, because now if Golston's out there, now we know, oh, he's not going to run the ball. They're going to pass. Oh, shit. If Yaya's out there, now we don't know what to do. If JTS is out there, oh, shit, he has too much speed. We need to switch it to a run play. Now you play it in the Bucs' hands. The Bucs defense, first things first, is designed to stop runs. That's what they're going to do. They want
win the first down.
You want your quarterback to beat you. And if you don't have an elite quarterback, sometimes even having just an above average quarterback isn't going to be good for this defense that we have. I tell you what, if your quarterback isn't above average, you're going to have a very long season with the Bucs. And that's why I'm looking very forward to this Vikings game, but we'll talk about that later on. But right now, in practice, I was very impressed with what I saw with this Bucs defense. Anthony Nelson picked off Zach Wilson a pick six, which was funny. Seeing Anthony Nelson dropping the coverage and putting them big-ass arms out there. Zach should be ashamed of himself. You just let like a 275-pound man pick six you. Go sit down. Aaron,
that could come down to the trickery of what is called Todd Bowles, that everyone's wish-washing away and saying he's not good enough to be a head coach. Look, he doesn't need to be the ultimate head coach. All he needs to do is get his defense right and trust in his offensive coordinator and manage the in-game situations. He doesn't need to, if I was in his shoes, and I'm realistically, this is his first year with zero guidance and with a crew that he's put together, yeah?
Yeah.
The way I'm attacking this is, Dave, this is your offense. I'm going to let you do fucking everything. This is your shit. Now, if I feel that I need to, the only time I'm going to interject is if you're going to go if you're going on fourth down, I want to know, because that's a big decision that's going to affect my defense, right? So I need to know that. Timeouts, you need to tell me when you want them, or I will call them when I think I need to use them. Challenges, that's always done. They usually have somebody for fucking challenges and all that. So he doesn't need to do too much. Just let the offense do, and he needs a lot of people when they first get a job, they want to try and prove that they can do the job. So what they do is they try and do too much themselves because they're scared of it going wrong. And when it goes wrong, the only person they can point the finger at is themselves, right?
Exactly.
Because you delegated everything to yourself. Once you start delegating to other people, you can make them responsible. Dude, I made you responsible for fucking establishing the run. Why aren't we fucking establishing the run? Why is our offense too vanilla? You hired him to do a job, so you can fire him if he doesn't do the job. I'm not saying do that now or anything like that. I'm just saying he needs to put himself as in almost like he's in charge of this football team, because he is.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be interesting for him because he is now in that position where he's got nothing behind him or on his breathing down his neck to say, you got to do this and you got to do that. There was a little bit of that. And I don't care what anyone says. There's a little bit of that when Bruce Arians is upstairs and you are technically breathing down the neck of another Bruce's guy. Now he doesn't have to worry about that. Like, he can hold the offense accountable the way he would want to. Now, I'm not saying he's going to, and he might just revert to what he always is or what he's shown so far.
Yeah.
But we can guarantee you this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense will be good. And if it isn't, then Bowles probably should go.
Yeah, right.
Unless there's a ridiculous freak amount of injuries. But if we're predominantly strong in all the right areas and we don't lose too many players, there is no excuse for having a bad defense. There isn't none.
Not at all. And I wanted to go by what, yes, again, Palmer is elite, Moss, Saucy. Yes. Well, first of all, we need to get this out here. Sauce ain't shit. I don't know why you guys, a lot of people, not you guys, but there was a lot of hype in the media about him. He was all right. He just mouthed off a lot, made a few plays here and there, but he
made the plays, and that's the thing. It's almost like backing it up with your mouth. The thing is, he's gonna lose occasionally. It's just not good for him to lose against a rookie, right? A rookie, what,
sixth round
pick, right? That isn't the best. So
it's not the best, but that's why I love joint practices more than your practices with your guys, because you're not gonna always play. I even say here today, I'd say they played between 70 to 80% intensity because you don't want to get injured, but it gives you a chance to understand when you go against other talent, you pick up certain things of, okay, this is how I should cover this person, or this is how we should back up. Going against each other doesn't always tell the stories.
That's because you've seen it time and time again. This cat run the same route, and they might have audibles that you've already queued up because you've been going against them. They're like, oh, they'll go Viking. I know Viking is. He's got a fucking slam.
Exactly.
But when you go up against a team that you haven't spent much time against, you're not going to know their P's and Q's. So you're working them out live almost. So it's more authentic to playing pure defense.
Mm-hmm. And it shows how you really would operate under pressure in the actual game. Yes, Bucs Rays. First of all, Bucs Rays Bolts, how you doing? Thank you for joining. And that's a great question. Simple. Baker won it. Baker won that already a little while ago because I think Baker won the team over faster than Traskcast. Trask is doing good things, but Baker is winning. And we've already seen, if you go back to the Steelers game, I told you guys already, Buck fans out there, rollout and bootleg is going to set this fucking offense to so many levels of heights that we've been looking for, because Baker is a rollout guy. He's an
speaking of levels, that's going to be a fucking play that's going to be very useful. You're going to have you're going to have the underneath easy route. You're going to have the fucking you're going to have the running back as well, and then you could maybe even have a crosser on one side and then someone else with an in breaker. So you've got a level of who you're going to hit.
And now,
not saying you do that every play, but like it's a concept that's going to be very useful in that. Because if you only have one breaking route, you only have one to defend, so it's not as easy. But you have a couple or one or two. Now you're playing with a little bit, because I just like it personally.
And you help with the run game now, because now they have to guess, is this a crossing route, or you can switch it up and say, nah, fuck it, go up the gut this time, because now they might move back and assume Baker's going to go this way. Okay, Baker sees that. Oh, they're backing up. Oh, they're not loading in the box anymore. Wait a minute. Rashad, get it. Vaughn, Tucker, whoever, go up the middle. It's 2nd and 4. They think we're gonna pass. Oh shit! They run a 10-yard run, first down, and you keep going. At that point, that's what a quarterback who has duality can do. Now you don't know what to do because with Brady, everybody knows you knock if the line is fucked, so is Brady. Baker can say, okay, get a key. You might have messed up on this one play, but I made up for it by getting away from the defender, and I still launched the damn ball. Today, people were very happy about Palmer burning Sauce because Trask threw a very solid pass. That's nice. I hear what y'all saying, but Trask at this point has too many cons instead of pros. That is very nice that he did that, but we won't see the consistency yet. I do think that if Bowles has already given Baker the starting job, if Trask plays this game, this is for Trask now to play as a backup, not a starter. We want to see if something does happen to Baker, God forbid, he can come in and at least try to be average with these weapons. Let me tell you, no quarterback with the weapons that the Bucs have on offense, you should not be below average. You have way too much promising for you, especially with the weapons that we just mentioned. If they all stay healthy, you have Palmer, Godwin, you have Evans, Otten. If you can't make it work, then as a quarterback, that's not for you. This offense is too loaded. And then you're on a team with the defense that can bail you out just in case. So the QB controversy is over, Buck fans. Baker is your starter. Support him. Do what you need to do. It's okay this next game when the Bucs play the Jets. I do expect to see. I don't know why. I do expect to see Trask making some improvements. I expect it.
I don't think he was awful. I think the problem was when you've made a reputation being in camp for not throwing interceptions.
Yes.
And then you throw an interception. That's the problem, right? Yeah. And then you've got another quarterback that's everyone saying he makes plays, but he sometimes he takes a few risks. Jameis Winston-esque, yeah. He's going to score you touchdowns, but he's going to give you interceptions.
Yep.
And it was kind of like, I wouldn't say a flip-flop, but it kind of was because it was kind of like, what do you go, 9 and 10 or 8 and 10 on his passes? Baker,
yeah, he I forgot. I just know
it was decent efficiency. Yeah. He got like 100 and something yards, and he got a touchdown out of it, and no picks. So job ticked in that kind of. I don't know what Kyle Trask got, if truth be told, but that's. It's what you do in the moment, and I think at the moment Kyle Trask is trailing a little bit. He had a little bit of steam. There was a little bit of a buzz about him going into that preseason game because he'd been almost immaculate in camp, right? So it's going to be interesting to know what the interception ratio was in this joint practice. That's an interesting piece to know. And then secondly, he does have to. I would say he has to ball out a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much reps he's going to get, but he does have to show consistency. He's going to have to show that he can take a risk,
yes,
and he can also check down. If he's checking down and checking down and checking down, we can't live off a check down.
You cannot live.
Not everyone's Tom Brady, and they have that kind of like. Well, I would say sometimes with the Patriots in the past that Tom Brady's been a part of, they had that kind of bruising mentality. Is like their running back ain't going to get chunks of yardage, but it'll be enough to get. Oh, it's third down. It's now second down, and it's now second down and 6. It's and we'll do it again. Fuck it. Now it's third down and 2. They're a meticulous machine that works. Not everyone can work that way.
No, especially if you don't have the weapons, and that's what the Bucs do have. They have.
Eventually, you got to drop your nuts and fucking play.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that because for Trask, what you can't do, and that's what I've been seeing in practice, even in the games, like you said, that interception was piss poor. That was a terrible decision. If you go back and watch that Bucs game, all the Bucs receivers against the Steelers, the way that they were running the routes was the same way the Bucs were doing last season against the Steelers, but Byron's dumbass didn't take advantage. I had never seen the Bucs wide receivers have so many spaces. Kyle Trask, on the other hand, it's like he'll have 4 bad plays, but then make 2 plays where it's like, okay, that's nice, but you're 2 and 4 at this point. Baker is a guy he'll be 5 and 3, but those extra 2 wins the game. Baker, do not expect Baker guys to always have a pretty record. I can see Baker on average like having games where he'll throw for 331, 2 touchdowns and an interception, or one game it'll be 270, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, but that 1 touchdown wins the game. I expect to see those type of numbers. Now, hopefully, if he can get under 12 interceptions, I'm all for it. Then you talk about maybe this guy.
I mean, I can live with a little bit more, providing there's no fumbles.
Okay.
Right. So I reckon. I mean, 12 is probably the magic number. I think you want to go maximum 15 giveaways. You can't. This team's built to. This defense is built to survive 1 interception per game. Sorry, yeah. 1 turnover per game. So your running back's going to cough up 1 or 2 or so whatever. So that's going to give you your whole broad spectrum is you're going to give up 1 turnover a game on average. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. On average, because there's going to be games where you give up none, and there might be a game where you give up 2. We know that's the realistic of football. That's the whole part of the game is it's designed around that. But this defense is built. If you turn around to this defense and all you got to do is defend 1 interception. Now, the only 1 turnover. The only issue is when it happens. Exactly. Interceptions are only bad if they're caught early in the drive or they're caught in the flats. The reason being is there's no one else going to get to the no one else is getting there because it's just straight down Broadway, yeah, and you're running that shit in. That's why that's where Rondé got most of his picks from. He's a really good flat defender.
Yep, and
an intermediate flat to deep defender.
But you know, one thing that I do think this defense, because of the addition, we're able to, because we know Bo's like bend don't break. With this roster, we can bend a lot more and not break. But I do think that he might change it up this season, where I haven't seen enough yet, but I think that front 7, he wants that front 7 to be fucking nasty. He wants that front 7, as you say, but get me a turnover so the offense in the beginning of the season.
But still win the turnover battle. You turn around and say, right, the offense, your goal is to just not average 1 turnover a game. Defense, your minimum is 3. That means we get 2 extra opportunities guaranteed.
Absolutely. Especially like you said, we don't want the offense to have to fully go down the field in the first 6 games. If anything, I want the offense to get points off, maybe like going 40-yard drives, make the most 50 or 60, just so they can constantly improve. But we don't want to do what the Bucs offense had to do last year. Always have to be out at their end of their own field, and then when the special teams did punt, sometimes it wasn't a good punt, and then the defense was still tired. So hell, last year when the Bucs just got a field goal, stopped the team for a field goal, and they were on the field for like 7 minutes. I'm like, hell, that's actually a success on their part. So we want this. I think the front 7 this season is going to be a lot nastier. I think Yaya is going to bring a lot more intensity. I still would be cautious with Shaq. Shaq would still be situational for a little bit, just so I can make sure that he is fully healthy.
I think we know that by preseason game. I mean, obviously, Shaq's going to tell you that he wants to go because,
of course,
he's a player, right? I've never not known a player. You got a player's fucking falling apart in front of you, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I can play, coach."
Right, and we know that from Shaq, but I still think that this defense, like you said, it's gonna be nasty. Also, the secondary, if the front 7 is effective, then the grave diggers are going to have a field day. Antoine Winfield is going to do his thing. We're not worried about that. Carlton Davis is going to be a good because he can hit. I actually want to see what Dean will be like when the Bucs when they get in their zone schemes, because he's good at picking you off in them schemes. He has the speed to recover and maneuver. This Bucs defense is.
Hey, I got a question for you. Talking about this Bucs defense, is this Buccaneers defense? We're going to go on paper because we don't know. There's a couple of question marks on players. Like, we don't know what Kansas can do until he does it. We don't know what Yaya can do until he does it right. In your opinion, on paper, is this defense better than last year?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go. I'm going to just run through the schedule of how many times what points were scored against us. So in the first game, we played the Dallas Cowboys, and they scored 3 points against us. Then we played the Saints, and they scored 10. Then we played the Packers, and they scored 14. Then we kind of dropped the bollock a little bit and played against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they scored 41. 15, 20, 21, 27, 13, 19, 23, 16, 35, 34, 16, 24, 30. So, and let's say that the Bucs weren't fucking trying because they were resting players left, right, and fucking center. So I don't even want to include that in the shape of thing. For me, even if you just turn a couple of those games from it being a 35 game to a 25 game, it's more winnable. Yeah. And I think that's the big difference that I'm seeing is like this team has gone. How many games do they have under the I call it the 20 mark, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games were under 20 points. 20 points or under. If this defense is better than last year, I would expect at least 2 to 3 more games where they do that. The only thing, when I look at these two quarterbacks, and we'll go back to the quarterback thing because of this, I've got one quarterback that can make plays but might turn over the ball. I've got another quarterback that's hesitant to make plays but will not turn over the ball. If I'm looking at it from that perspective, right?
Right.
So one's going to be, let's face it, more Tom Brady-esque with potentially a better run game. We don't know until I see what 2023 looks like. The other one, I honestly believe if the defense had had more time to gel, if you would have put Jameis Winston into 2020, we'd have still made the playoffs. But we'd have scraped. We'd have scraped harder. I believe. Not to be fair, that's not fair because. No, I'll backtrack on that a little bit.
We'll backtrack. I know where you're
going.
No,
the only reason I would is because we won 11.
Yeah.
So we would have won 9.
I think we would have got away with 10. Here's the thing. And I'm glad you're bringing this up because we have to go back to the Tom Brady-esque question. Let's be real, Slick. Because of the situation and because of the shitty play calling, Tom wasn't the right fit last season. I asked Buck questions. Look, we've talked about this before plenty of times. Can you imagine if Baker was in the playoffs with this squad and Brady wasn't there? And I know some people say that's not fair. I beg to differ. With a mobile quarterback, yes, Jameis, and I'm glad I know I'm all over the place, but work with me. Jameis, as much as he fucked up, he still was able to make up for his shit.
Oh, he's 30 for 30 in his last year. Like, we were on the cusp of a playoff series. All he had to do was win one fucking game.
Yep. And
just not throw picks. That's all he had to do, but he could not help himself.
Mm-hmm. And he also, but here's nothing. He also
I'm going to pull it up because I need to have a look at this now.
He also didn't have a Wirfs either. So with Baker having Wirfs there, and you get more of a consistent blocking, it will help Baker. That's why, and I like that you said with the trash situation. I don't want to see another Brady-esque anymore because that's not what our offense.
That's what I worry about with Trask.
Yeah,
because I'm not a camp, so I'm not, and I'm
No,
I'm not there checking what every single. I'd love to. My dream would be to go to camp.
Yeah,
I'd love to just sit there and fucking.
So Buck fans, we might have to start get Slick Get Coach Slick
the account.
a GoFundMe, and I'll start it off. But no, I've seen him plenty of times. He is statue-like. He's still more athletic than Brady, but not by much. And as you said, he's hesitant to pull the trigger and to let it happen. Baker, on the other hand, can keep a play going, and that's what gets your offense alive. And that's what can make defense make mistakes. What if that linebacker assumes that Baker's going to go for it, and when he runs in, now you got a wide receiver across the middle, wide open. Palmer with his speed, Baker tosses it, and Palmer goes in for a touchdown. Brady, you didn't get that. With Brady, it was more psychological pressure on the entire offensive system. Linemen, if you don't block, Brady and the entire thing is fucked. Receivers, you didn't run the route crisp enough. Now the whole situation is messed up because Brady is going to throw it away in 2.5 seconds. That's unacceptable, and that's not as realistic as it was when the Bucs were in 2020 and 2021 because we had a full-oiled machine and everything was on point. We had a healthy line. A guy like Baker doesn't always need to rely on a perfect scheme. He will make use and improvise of that scheme. That's why I tell people Brady was actually not a good fit last year, especially mentally because his head wasn't all the way in the game, and Byron didn't know what the fuck he was doing. That hurts your team. A guy like Baker, I need a risk taker because we have the weapons. It was a travesty when Brady just threw the ball away when you have the receivers, and it also was a travesty to Byron not adjusting. Slick and I have always said it. Owners look at that shit. You still had this team. You still had talent all around you, despite not having the line. And the line still, statistically on paper, was not awful. They were average to below average at times, but they still were average, and they had some above average moments. Why didn't you call these plays? What's up, Byron? Why didn't you do that? Oh, well, it's not Madden. Thank you for your time, Byron. Goodbye.
But Adrian, I had a look at 2019, and there were at least 5 games where we were 7 points adrift, right? So I would call that in the winning margin. Now, just gonna have a quick look at that. It doesn't give me the turn. Right. Turnovers lost. San Francisco 4. Carolina Panthers lost 7. I think that was the one in back in my neck of the woods.
Yeah,
that was a bad game to watch. But it was a win. It was a winnable. It was a game that I would say no, it wasn't winnable because the point difference. So if we go to Tennessee Titans, we give up 4 turnovers.
Shouldn't have lost.
We lose the game by 4 points. Right. So another year in the scheme, another year in the with the defense doing what they're doing. That could be a flip flop.
Yes.
Lost to the the Seahawks in overtime. Only 1 turnover. It was in overtime. I wonder when that turnover was, to be honest. New Orleans Saints, yeah, they crushed us. It's not even fucking close. And then this was the hard one. The Houston Texans, we lose by 3 points.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is out. Chris Godwin's out. 5 turnovers, and we lose the game 20 points to 23. That's a heartbreaker. And then we lose to the Atlanta Falcons. Pick 6 to finish the game. That should, in my opinion, we should realistically we should have walked away with 9 wins.
I'd say 10 wins. That Atlanta game.
You could. I'm just saying easily.
10 wins.
Easily.
Yeah, 10 wins. And then, mind you, give him a Tristan Wirfs. Now that's a whole nother ball game. Because if you look at it, he wouldn't. Winston is a guy to me. I don't believe shit unless I see it for myself. You could tell Winston, hey man, you don't have to do this. But in Winston's mind, I feel like sometimes like, yeah, coach.
Yeah.
But this guy DeMar can't protect for shit half the time, and I don't want to get hit. A guy like Tristan it might have changed his demeanor to the point, oh, okay, well, on this side, I'm good to go. All I got to do now is worry about Donovan Smith fucking up, and I'm going to be all right. But Tristan Wirfs, the way he was pancaking people, now I can really move to this side. Now, if I want, because I know Tristan's blocking, we know that Winston didn't mind running, so now he could scramble and now keep the plays going. That's why I say you were onto something. The Bucs still could have got 10 wins or 11 wins that season.
They wouldn't have won a Super Bowl.
Oh no, not at all, because Winston's turnovers.
I don't know if we ever would. Would, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, if we had the same schedule, let's say if we play the Washington Commanders that time, we win that game, but we do not win in the Saints. I think with Winston, the Saints would have blown us out. Because Winston would have been under so much duress and throwing so many turnovers. That would have been it.
And the only reason I say this is we're talking about Baker being similar to Jameis Winston, right? And that's why I'm saying this defense is a lot further along than when we last had a person like Jameis Winston along who was throwing interceptions left, right, and fucking center, right? Yeah. So if they can amass 7 wins with how bad that team was, with the 30 interceptions, you got to remember how many people probably coughed up the ball on the floor as well. So it's probably a total of closer to 35, right?
Yes.
And you put that all together, and this team that was just learning its defensive scheme rather than most of them being masters at it. Like right now, you've probably got Yaya Diaby, but he's not technically a starter yet. Kansi's probably the starter week 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's expected. And then the safety is the only real massive change that I can think of off the top of my head. Logan Hall's already played in the scheme for a year. They're the only 2 like kind of rookies to the scheme, if that's a better way to turn a phrase.
Yeah.
So you have a lot more playability and pliability with this team that you can use. I don't think we're as bad as everyone seems to think we are. I think this defense is going to ball out. The offense just doesn't need to give it up in critical times. That's going to be the key. You can give up an interception early on because it will not. If you get the best thing you can do is throw the interception on the first play of the game because it's done. It's over.
Right.
As long as you don't do it again.
Exactly.
Right? And obviously, there's a lot of football to be played, but
yes,
what I'm trying to say is the earlier you kind of get that crap out of you, the better you can potentially play. But if you're going to be a multiple turnover team, then it's going to be a struggle. But this team had those struggles last year when they were constantly defending. Okay, maybe they weren't defending on really short fields, but they were defending long fields on a regular basis.
Yes, all the time. Also, we have to bear in mind Winfield was hurt a lot of last season. If he's healthy this season, a full 17 games.
And what year is it?
It's that money year. Yep, that's that money year. It's just so I look at it like this. I've already said the Bucs will have between 10 to 12 wins. If they get to 11 wins, I can guarantee you this: 7 of those games will be because of the Bucs defense. And you know what? I will be perfectly fine with that. I want this offense to catch fire going towards the end of the season because now rhythm. Because now when the playoffs come, you could be good. That's what I want to see them just go balls out by week 10. I want this offense to go, okay, guys, we know what the fuck we're doing now. Now we just got to put it together. We're going to be doing this, get ourselves together. That's what I'm looking for. This Bucs defense is going to be better, especially if they stay healthy, because now you have depth. Last year, our depth was a major drop off. Like let's say Yaya outplays JTS, we still know what JTS can do.
Yeah, JTS has been a starter for it. JTS started a good chunk of last season, so
exactly
he can start. He's just not a consistently great starter.
But now you have depth.
Yeah, Anthony Nelson.
Yep. Sometimes the best thing for JTS might not be to start, and if Yaya takes over, that takes the pressure off him. Where when I come in, I just got to make shit happen, and I don't have to worry about being out here all day. Sometimes that is the beauty of
just being splash, just he goes in, fires off, gets a sack.
You get the sack, and you do
basically the the pass rushing equivalent of Mike Edwards.
Yes.
Just goes in for a play and just bang, fucking.
And just make that's a great example. Make it happen and do your thing to where if you do go somewhere else, now you can get the money, get the bag in your favor. That's why I think this defense on paper right now is better because they have more depth. If Kancey is what I expect him to be, whoo, man. First off, running on this big team is already hard already. Kancey is who he is with Vita. Shit. We're going to force you to pass. We're going to make you have to go. All right, guys, especially the NFC. We love it. Now, I'm jumping the gun, but we're going to talk about this ahead, guys. The Vikings, I'm not worried. I think our defense, they don't have a true running back. So Kirk Cousins is gonna give us a Kirk Cousins moment. I know he will. I just know it. I'm waiting. For Carlton, this is your time to shine, baby. This is Kirk. Pick that motherfucker off and run it back.
Do you know what I would do? I would be adequate to play cover 2 man.
Yes.
Just because I can say, Colton, fuck his bitch ass up.
Yes.
All right. And if you fail, don't you worry. Antoine's got that shit. He's gonna come down with it.
And if anything, we want you
fuck up his timing, fuck up his feet, fuck him up. So every play he's like, for fuck's sake, I just can't get off the line clean. And that shit will wear him down. And if he does somehow get past you, you know Antoine Winfield has got it. The only time I would say you can't do that as much is when you're in trips. And that might be how you scheme them out of it to a degree.
I'm not going to lie in trips. I know, call me crazy. Some people think this is the Madden in me, but I'm going to do a 3-4. You know why? You run that trips, you got to get past those big bodies. Them linebackers, especially if they go through coverage or
they just can't hit like they would. Like they can't do anything anymore. That it's been set up for the wide receiver to eat in that.
Maybe depending on what the speed, because sometimes quarterbacks get too greedy and they'll throw it, release it quick, thinking that they got a quick opening. And then Monte goes, "Oh, you want to throw it, or you just want to go hut?" And then
I'm just saying, if you send, the issue with trips is you can't double team as much on one side because so in that case, I would say, okay, Davis, when they're in trips, I want you to just play traditional normal man corner on him.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't afford to have your safety and your DB only dealing with one dude in trips.
No, yeah, trips can be
so
very...
that's what I meant by it. Not that trips will fuck us up. It's just you can't play the exact same thing that you were playing when they're in doubles. In doubles, you can go, okay, in doubles we'll put a nickel on that guy, so that will kill him off. Well, essentially, depending on how good the coverage is. And then we've got this double team that we got going. When it's trips, well, the nickel is going to be on the 2, or he's going to play. I don't know the phrase they use the phrase over here. What did we call it? Apex between number 2 and number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So he's split between 2. And then the middle back, which would be Levante David, he would be the pass strong backer, I guess.
No, I get what you're saying. Only reason, of course, nickel is your safety, or you can do dime or quarters. Only reason I'd say I do the 3-4 is to fuck with them, because sometimes offensive, like quarterbacks, they might fall for it and go, oh, okay, I already see something that looks like it's going to be open, but they forget you got Levante and Devin. They'll be like, oh, I got.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You've got to kind of almost dress it up as a certain person.
Yep.
So maybe you make it look that Justin Jefferson's not going to get shit, but this smaller kid that has got a bit of talent that you've done a few things with in camp, he's going to have his moment. He's going to, I've got a fucking treat for him. And that treat's not going to be there because we've let you see it.
Yep.
Dressing it up. We're dressing it up to look pretty, and that's when a Levante David, you probably play him. Let's say you turn around and go, right, we want you to play at a 50 technique off the tackle, and all he does is get his read and bang, straight up in the window, takes it off, because it's a slant or it's a shadow cross.
Now the quarterback's like, oh shit, like.
And those are the worst ones to have, because they're the ones that usually get sixth, because you've got if you catch that with speed, you're relying on the running back. Quarterback ain't gonna do shit, especially
no.
you're running that back for 6.
And now they got to question you in the conference. What happened? Coach, I thought I saw it. I thought the linebacker was going to come in, and I saw him. I seen it. I thought he was going to come in, and then all of a sudden the motherfucker jumped out and pulled a Rondé Barber. And, well, why didn't you go tackle him? I'm a quarterback. I ain't doing shit. So, yes, sometimes you got to spice it up. And I can see Bowles doing some shit like that where
– He's always been good like that.
They'll fuck around and think, okay, we got this. But no, like you said, traditionally for trips, you go with your nickel to be safe. So, I know some people would go for the dime, but I'm a little worried because I don't want to stretch it out, because if you have your weak corner out there, somebody could just take advantage of them. But
you know what I would do? I'd probably go corner. Nickel would be apex between the 2 and 3, and then I'd have the safety would be over the top of 2, so he can play both ways.
Yes.
And then I would it all depends on how much I trust my other corner. So if the cat he's lined up against is having a bad game or isn't very good, or they're winning the battle, right? Then I might turn around and say to my other safety, I want you to, on the snap, just hug we use it, we call it pirate. It's a pirate. It's a poach technique, but we call it pirate. That's what our thing is. That's how we call it. It means basically you just hug the hash mark as you're getting depth. And if you see the number 2, if they open up towards trips, you literally bend around and you pick off the deeper version. So, because we play college rules, our Levante David, in theory, would come in and just twat that number 3. Just smash him. Twat is a word for hit. It's a very useful word in our language. But we twat that guy. And if he does if Levante can't get it, then the other guy just poaches underneath. The quarterback doesn't see it because it's late. He'll hug the hash marks all the way up until he sees him turn, and then he'll just flash in front of him. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get the number 2.
You heard it here, Buck fans. See, this is why we love to talk to you. See, Slick is a defensive mind. He's a strategist. He's a strategist. Excuse me. He knows what he's doing. See, for me in offense, that's where me and you come in. I know on defense a little bit, but offense, I love trips. I'll fuck a defense up.
You just reverse it. That's the way. All you got to do is what I've just told you. If you can do that, I'll do this. And that's the beauty part. That's the chess game, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, I love
it. They go, hey. Yeah, that's a really good move. But if I get him to do this instead.
Yeah. Oh, see, my trips, one of the things is about me and trips, the guy on the far outside, if I have a slower corner, I'm going to make him do a quick speed out, because now I'm going to separate. And then my Mike Evans in the middle, he's going to just run a straight go route, because now I'm going to stretch. My thing is I want to stretch your defense out to the point where now somebody might make a mistake in coverage, especially corners, because we've said it, being a corner is hard as hell, and it's not for the faint of heart, because if you're doing a lot of backpedaling and someone just hits you with a quick move, and if you don't adjust right, that's how those guys get wide open on those crossing routes or those out routes, because now
position in the world to play is DB. I always say that.
Yep.
The one thing turn around to me, someone turn around, someone turned around to me and said, your DBs didn't make a tackle. I went, he's not fucking supposed to make the tackle. It's not his fucking job. He's made fucking 5 tackles on a run game. He should be making that many. No. He should be making his tackles on passes caught underneath him that he's got to come down and play.
Exactly.
Where's the linebacker that's supposed to get him? Where's the fucking D lineman that should have stopped him in his tracks? Don't give me my fucking DBs a fucking shit. I'll back my DBs. My boys.
As you should. And it's hard, because that's why I said with that out route, and if I do it the right way, and I don't mean just like a quick one like that. I used to tell them do that
deep route. That deep out.
Yeah, because now you got to make a choice. If you don't jam at the line, or you give me some room and then I turn quick, and you're a corner and you're kind of weak on that now. Or if you get caught slacking, and my Mike Evans guy is there, and you don't put a safety there because you're so worried about something else, Evans, I'm gonna launch this bitch and you're gonna go get it. Or I just have my safe guy Palmer. under crossing route right here, little undercurrent route. Boom, because the linebackers are so stretched out. Boop. Oh yeah, I'll kill you in some trips. Trips, if you don't, like you said, if you don't have a sound, disciplined defense, trips can fuck you up. I've as a coach.
Absolutely. I mean, at the college level, like I said, my thing would be you get your thing, look at number 3,
Yep,
and just match him. Yeah, but did he get his read quick enough? Because that's the biggest thing, right? I've always said reading is fundamental in this. If you can't fucking read, you're fucked.
Yeah,
because you're going to be behind one step. You can get away with it at the lower levels you play, but you still need to be able to read, because the longer you take to get your initial read, it's pass. Okay, great. Your next read should be like, what is we're talking trips here. So I'm Levante David. I'm in a 50 technique. I've come down. I've got my runs. I've got my read. My read is pass. This is where play action freezes you for a little bit longer. You take that extra step, or you take that extra second while it's developing, right? And that's why those work, because you've got to really read your eyes. Your eye discipline, because otherwise you bite, you're out of the play. You take too long, you didn't do it right. You've allowed whatever's needs to happen, unless you've got the athleticism to make up for it, right? So ideally, in this ideal world, if you're playing an under a crosser, or you're playing just over the top of linebacker route, what he's supposed to do is he'll come down, read, and then it's like, right, what's Free doing? Free's coming up at me. I'm going to go at college level. You go collision it. If it's not college level, you just read off the court. You flip your eyes back to the quarterback to see where he's going. If he's not going for your dude, then you either step in front of him, or you step behind. You keep going in coverage, depending on what the guy's giving you. But you've just had to look at 3 different things in a very short sequence of seconds, and people don't really seem to appreciate just how quickly that information is going to dial.
And and you got to process
pass
it.
Read. Okay, I got initial read is pass. What's Free doing? Free's going under route. Okay, what's the quarterback doing? Quarterback's not even fucking looking at him. Quarterback's looking at way at your Mike Evans guy running. Okay, well, I've got to fucking go up there, right? That's my job. But that's 3 individual reads I've had to make. That takes time.
It takes a lot of time, and if you mess it up, that's why they have things called blown coverage. But I'm gonna, last comment, and I'm gonna leave this for you, because since we're going into the game for the Jets this Saturday at 7:00, Buck fans, if you can, try to watch it, because we're gonna be making an aftermath special after this game. But give me 2 players on offense and 2 players on defense that you want to see make some noise this game.
I mean, if they're putting the pure starters in, and it is like not last week, then I want to see I don't want to say this because it's not fair. I want to see a bit of Mike Evans. Okay. And the reason being is because I've heard so much about him saying he's getting open more and he's running a more expansive route tree. So I want to see a little bit of that. Second person I need to see this. It's going to be a starter again, because I want to see what the starting defense. Ideally, I would just turn around and say starting offense.
Yes. Straight
up, because that's the most important thing, right?
Yes.
For me, the next player I want to see is going to be Rachaad White. What does he do with the ball? What's this run offense going to do? Because everyone's saying, we're going to run the ball a lot. We ain't running shit if it's shit. We ain't going to run the ball a lot if it's shit. We're going to throw the ball a lot. Because you're going to go to what you're best at. And if we're better at throwing the ball, we're going to throw the ball. If we're good at both, then we're going to have the split. If we're really good at running the ball and not as good at passing, then, we're going to use the run game to set up the pass, or we're going to use the pass game to try and set up the run game. So it's going to be, I want to see that. And then finally, it's going to be Baker Mayfield, because I want to see more. I need to see more. Yeah. My defensive coordinator, every time we come up, my guys come off the field, first thing he says, if we've had a good drive, he just says the word more and violent. That's it. You know what I'm going to say? You go, guys, you know what I'm going to say? More of that, please. More, more violence.
Yes. What about defense?
Defense. I want to see if Savassia Dennis play a little bit more, but we did get a good glimpse of him. I want to see the starting DBs out, and I want to see what they can do because we didn't. I don't think the starting DBs played at all, to be honest. Yeah. We're not going to get Cansey, so there's no point in going there. More Yaya. I want to see if Yaya. I want to see Yaya and JTS on both sides of the field. So I want them both on at the same time. I want to see who's going to chase the job.
Yeah.
I've already wrapped Shaq Barrett in bubble wrap. He ain't touching shit. He might come out for a drive and that's it. I don't need him to do. I don't even need him to show me anything.
No.
I want to see it from these guys because I want to see what we've got. Now, one of the guys I wanted, if I had to put in a cherry pick honorable mention, Payne Durham is so low on the depth chart. I need to see something. I want to see something because of how well versed he is. Like this guy should be higher in the depth. If I was plugging this depth chart today, he was already number 3 tight end for me. Right. So the fact that he isn't worries me a little bit. So I want to see something more from him. How about you, AJ? What you got going?
Yeah. Payne Durham, I want to see him in the run game. I want to see what he brings because in college, that's what he was known for. Not worried about the pass. Otten can do that. This season, Durham, at this point, you can be our passing guy, but in certain situations. But I want to see you run because if we're going to be a run-based offense, the balance, I mean, we need to see that. And then Getke.
That's a good choice. Yeah. What about Getke?
Yeah, on a psychological level, I want to see what he can do. Because he might have just had one of those moments where he goes, you know what? If I don't hear his name, then he's already shown me something. Defense, JTS too. I just want to see JTS. And then one more guy that I would like to see. I still want to see. I want to see what's like you said, Sabasi. I want to see what he's gonna do. I'm not worried about Yaya. To be honest, I already know Yaya when he gets in. He's going to wreak havoc. I saw it already in Pittsburgh, and I can only imagine what he's going to do to the Jets because the Jets line is not like Pittsburgh. They both have.
It's all called that line out, and that's what's been causing these fights. They've been getting home. Nobody. Yes. What's one thing that if you're in a practice, what's the one thing you don't want to happen to you?
You don't want your quarterback to get hit. You don't want him to get hit. You don't want him to go down. Then also, linemen have egos. You don't want people to get the best because, like you just said, damn, I'm only going 60 to 70%, and I'm already on your quarterback's ass. You know, D linemen talk that shit. Damn, y'all quarterback in trouble. So that could lead to a lot of shit. So my expectations, if I had to give a percentage rate, my expectations for the defense is 90, 95 actually. Offense right now, I'm going to go with a 60. That's it. I don't need anything right now. I just need you to grow. I need you to get to 80 by week 15 at least. But right now, just do your thing. But on that note, I'm gonna let this ride off. But again, thank you so much, Buck fans, for staying out here watching us. This is Bucs Report the Aftermath. Please check us out. You can always follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We are here. And check me out as well. AJ Turn Up. My personal podcast is about bucking time. I'm about to start turning things up. And also check out my link in my bio. I have a lot of good merchandise that you guys should check out. And then, as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs, baby.
Take care, my man.
And you, brother. Okay, guys, so that's the end of the show. We learned a little bit more. Hopefully, do we go with the free agent guy or do we just, suck it and see? Me personally, I will want to keep an eye on what's available free agency, but I do want to keep an eye on Luke Getke, and AJ's absolutely right. If I had to change one thing around, it would probably be take away Mike Evans and put in Luke Getke there, to be honest. I want to see a bit more consistency because that's a worrying spot. Like, we didn't draft a tackle. That was something I was worried about from day one, from the moment we did draft Cody Mark. I'm nothing against Cody Mark, but we didn't draft a tackle. Left tackle was considered our weakness going into that draft. We addressed that by moving somebody from right tackle to left tackle in Tristan Wirfs. That left in a giant gap because Tristan Wirfs was the right tackle, right? So now we don't have a tackle. So we're now trying to figure that out. And me personally, I was a little bit worried that we hadn't addressed it. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Luke Getzey can do the job, because of course I want the Buccaneers to win. I want the Buccaneers to succeed. I don't want my opinion to be right, because who gives a shit about me, right? So about these Buccaneers, we had Creamsicle Day, which is always fun. Been nice to one day partake in it with you all. That being said, Buccaneers got a game. I believe it's 7:30 Eastern against the Jets, and hopefully we can give them a good punch in the mouth and make them not feel so cocky, considering they've made all these free agent acquisitions and they got themselves a Hall of Fame level quarterback, or a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Fame quarterback. Without that said, let's go and get ass and kick some ass. Bucs on me, Bucs on free, and we will see you guys in the aftermath of the game, because that's what this was originally set up for, the aftermath of the game on Sunday. Time pending, probably looking around the same old bad time, which is 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you guys there, and we will break down this game, the good, the bad, the ugly, and gonna fuck you up. Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3, go Bucs.